If you've ever tried to get sober for good, or you've watched someone try to get sober for good, you've noticed it usually doesn't work. Now, there's a very simple, profound, and monumental reason for that, and most people don't ever get exposed to it. Once I learned this reason, I now haven't had a drink or a drug since 2015. So it's not a lack of effort, it's not a lack of sincerity. When people are like beat down and they've hit their bottom and they say, I'm done drinking, I'm done drugging forever, they would pass a polygraph test that they mean it. And then they do it, maybe for a little bit, whether it's days or months or years, but it doesn't work long term. And the reason that is because they don't feel good. It's literally that simple. Let me break that down because it's not easy. Obviously, oh, well, I have to feel good. If I don't feel good, I'm going to go back to whatever substance was at least giving me temporary relief from not feeling good. So to feel good, you have to dial in three most important areas of your life: your mental health, your physical health, and your spiritual health. I want to break those down, and let me repeat that. Mental, physical, and spiritual all have to be in line for you to stay sober. And when those things are in line, you will create an entire lifestyle for yourself that does not require the use of alcohol or drugs. If you don't, you can only hang on in pain for so long. And I've seen people do it for years, but they will always go back to what they know 100% will make them feel better: drugs or alcohol. Let me start with mental. So I didn't learn this. I was in Alcoholics Anonymous for 10 years before someone explained this to me. Hey, you have to feel good if you want to stay sober. And I had never considered that it was my feelings at all were important. I thought staying sober was just actions. It is, but the end result of those actions need to be that you feel good or you're not going to stay sober. Mental. Okay. Mental health. If you have a psychiatric thing going on, that's a whole different story. I'm not a doctor. I'm not even going to talk. I do, and I see a doctor, but I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to really get into that. But the biggest things for mental health are sleep and structure. Sleep is super overlooked. And by sleep, I mean minimum 7 hours, and you're creating a rhythm for your body. You get your circadian rhythm in line so that your body can do what it needs to do at nights. Heals things, replenishes things, that whole thing. And that looks like a consistent bedtime and a consistent wake up time. And that sounds easy. It sounds simple, but it's actually hard. It takes discipline to get yourself to go to bed early, not necessarily early, but at the same time every night, because every time you do, there's a little bit of FOMO. You feel like you're missing out on fun, or let me just do one more scroll, or, let me just take a shower. Like, you're just not ready to give the day up. But lack of sleep messes everything up. Not just like you're cranky and you can't sleep and brain fog, but your brain isn't even functioning right. Your dopamine system, which is directly related to addiction, your serotonin system, the glycogen processes of the brain, the firing of the neurons, everything's messed up without sleep. And I know there's people that can operate on very few hours of sleep. That's like 1 in a billion person. Nobody can do without minimum consistent 7 hours of sleep per night. So that's one. And that has a big impact because you have to do things throughout the day, especially in the evenings, that are conducive to sleep. Eat 3 hours before bed, let it digest. Get off of the phone and the blue lights and the dopamine triggers a couple hours before bed. Start turning down. Then you can finally feel what it feels like to be tired and go to sleep. So sleep is important. And the second for mental health is structure. I don't believe humans flourish without a consistent structure that has activities, accountability, a reason to get up, a reason to get dressed, accountability to other people, responsibilities in life. For most people, the easiest way is to get a job. If you have a job, huge chunks of your time are taken up with structure. It doesn't leave a lot of time to wonder what to do. It's a very hard position to be in, where you're trying to fill the day up and you're not sure exactly how to do it and what to do it. Well, why would I get up? Why would I go to bed on time? There's no structure. So sleep and structure, extremely important for mental health. Physical, obvious, exercise and diet. But what does that mean? So breaking down exercise, in my opinion, it needs to be resistance training, because boy, that bird, hopefully that's not too loud. But there goes my ADD squirrel. So physical exercise, all right, it can start with as simple as 5 5 push-ups a day. That sounds crazy, but there was a point where I couldn't even do 5 push-ups. I couldn't even do 5 knee push-ups. It was against the wall incline. That's how I started day after day. Exercise is extremely important, not just for physical processes, but more importantly for the mental swag, the confidence, the feeling of pushing through a physical barrier, no matter how small, that you didn't want to, builds a self-respect, builds a sense of self-respect that you can't get anywhere else. Second is diet. And this day and age, that is super crucial, especially with all the poisons, and they are in fact poisons in the food. I don't know if you're seeing any of the stuff out about what foods we get here that we can't sell to other countries because the chemicals in them are illegal. There was a Senate testifying, like, that's all very real. And so not only is there that, where the diet is with poison in it is actually affecting the brain processes and your body. You have brain fog, you're sluggish, you have inflammation, and so you can't think right, your joints hurt, makes it harder to exercise, you feel down. But then there's also the element of what it's doing to your self-respect. It does not feel good to not be able to control your food. It actually feels horrible, in my opinion. I don't care who you are. If you're not in control of your food, that's messing with you. Whether you acknowledge it or you're in denial, you keep it in the background, whatever. But understand, you need to switch your food choices because that's not your fault. We now know that they put chemicals that turn off satiation so you cannot feel full, and they target a very specific taste bud that's more addictive than cocaine. Think about that. The crappy food you're eating is not just like bad for you, it's toxic. And so you eat something, you can never feel full off it. You always want more because it's extremely addicting. So your physical health isn't in line, you're not gonna feel your best, and everything kind of stems from there. Spiritually, this could be its own video. It's a long one, it's complicated, but in my opinion, to be spiritually healthy, you have to have purpose. You have to. And for people, that can be a job temporarily, but I think you need to find a passion project, something that utilizes your natural gifts in a way that helps other people. That's what I think purpose is when you figure out, oh, here's what my skill set is in life, and here's how I can use it to benefit others and also give myself relief and use these skills. And so with that comes a sense of purpose. But in the meantime, you can get purpose through your job. You shouldn't align your identity with what you've accomplished from a professional level, but it's better than nothing. Like, you don't want to just sit around with nothing to do. And I don't care if it's a job you don't like or that you might feel is meaningless, or you're at, like, you know, some senator. I don't know, but you can get purpose through a job temporarily if you need it. The other, helping others. There is not, whoops, sorry, the wind, let me just fix this here. The wind, helping others is a huge part of, it encompasses everything. I think it's one of the most not talked about parts of spiritual health, helping others. And that can be, you can do that with your purpose. Say you get an itch to become a comedian. You might not ever make money with it, who cares? But think about putting something on YouTube that brings someone else joy. That's helping others. Or you like to donate your time. You want to go volunteer, do work. So something that helps other people. And then, in my opinion, you got to find your connection with God, source, creator, energy, universe, something bigger than you that will allow you to tap into and relieve fear, get direction, activate your intuition. And if you don't believe in any of that, that's okay. Like, don't just shut it off, but have you ever challenged it? Have you ever asked whatever it might not be for you to prove that it's real? And then sit back and look for the sign, because it's pretty obvious. And my buddy did it. This was a couple years ago. He woke up that day and just said, hey, if you're real, like, show me. And he went to the gas station, and an unsheltered individual came up to him and said, hey, did you know God loves you? He's tried to have a relationship with God ever since. I'm not a religious person. That's not what I'm saying. If you are, that's amazing. That's amazing. Think about that. You get an entire structure on directly how to interact with God, a set of morals, spiritual guidelines. If you stay within these guidelines, you're going to be happy. You're going to have purpose. You're going to have a relationship with your Creator. But there is a God. Yes, there is. And we have been created. We are here with purpose. We have souls. We have special abilities that we can activate within ourselves or have revealed within ourselves that can help others. And if you don't believe that, don't just shut me out. Go test it. Ask very sincerely, to prove it. And you can be outlandish with it. Like, hey, God, if you're there, source, if you're there, creator, if you're real, prove it, obviously. I don't want any between the line stuff. Like, I want you to show me. And if you can do that, I'll believe in you. And then you're going to show me how to make a relationship with you. Go on a spiritual journey. So, mental, physical, and spiritual health are essential to feel good. Feeling good is essential to staying sober. And if you get those three pillars lined up, you will have an entire life created for yourself. Oh, I did it in the shape of a heart. That's awesome. An entire life created for yourself that not only doesn't need alcohol or drugs, but doesn't have room for it. So, I don't know. Hope that helps. Love you guys. Have a great day.